we go. Test. Sweet. It looks like we are live. Hello, everybody. Hope you're all having a great Sunday. A happy Mother's Day. I want to start off with a disclaimer. Some of the things that I post or might be saying today, people might think that I don't like my mom, but I do. I really appreciate my mom. I love all the things that she's done for me, but I'm a realist. So I talk about some of the things that really stand out to me and, some of the harsh truths that have affected me throughout my life. But don't worry, I love you, Mom. I think it's really important to focus on the good, focus on the positive, but acknowledge that with a lot of things that are joyful and happy and uplift us in life, then there's usually sad counterparts to it as well. But before we get into all of that, I want to welcome you all to another evening with Eskel. We're on episode 65, I believe. Let me get you all pulled up here. Say hi to everybody. Amanda's live was a lot of fun. Ooh, boy. Here we go. Wow, we got some comments going already. A lot of people here really quick. This is awesome. Thanks for joining, everyone. We got Popcorn Golden saying the first comment, saying hey. Caitlin Flinker-Mary, welcome. We already got a donation. Thank you so much, Denise. Really appreciate that. Welcome, Courtney Harper, Todd, Jen Taylor. Sweet. Awesome. Well, I'm really excited. Today's discussion, of course, is going to be somewhat around mothers, and I want to talk about what it means to be a mother and what effect mothers have in our lives, for sure. But I also want to hear your guys' opinions. I know everyone's got such diverse, unique upbringings with their mothers, right? So, that's going to be the center of our topic today. I think it should be a lot of fun, though. Sweet. Boom. Cool. Okay. Well, let's just dive right into it. Last week was really nice. I've really been enjoying the kind of like controversial topics that we've been able to discuss. You guys always bring such great ideas and wonderful perspectives. I love hearing from you guys. Being able to compare my life experiences to your guys's. It's been a lot of fun so that I could really open my mind and my perspective of life to better understand and understand why it is that I like living my life the way that I do. And if I don't, how I can change it, I think that bottom line is what is important to me. Oh, no way. We got another donation already. Thank you, Stephanie Singer. Yay, I made it. Thank you. I'm glad you're able to make it. That's awesome. Todd says, I just got off the phone with my mom. I'm very fortunate to have good relationships with both my parents. There you go. See, I think it's so important for us to recognize the good that we have in our lives and appreciate those tender mercies, being able to have good relationships, being able to have family around us. I think that's something that I have definitely taken for granted in my life for sure. And I don't know. I have a lot of friends and people in my life that I watch and see how their family dynamic is. And, I can't help but kind of compare myself sometimes. And I guess it can kind of make me feel bad sometimes. And I've had so many times where I hear people being like, oh, I kind of regret either my upbringing or regret certain things in my life. Even a lot of the times when it comes to relationships or, things that might be hard to go throughout our lives. But every time I have these discussions with people, I feel like I always come back to the fact that it wouldn't be worth not having those situations when you can learn from them and grow from them. There's so much meaning, so many great things to be taken away from them. And that's why I consider myself, I don't know if saying I'm a realist is the right way, but I embrace the sad realities of life, and I think it's okay. Life is going to be hard. We're all going to struggle. There's going to be things that we have to go through that's uncomfortable, and I think that is okay because you would not be the person that you are today without those. So, in essence, you got to be grateful for even the hard things that you go through, but still appreciate the good that you go through, all the good that life has to offer. Wow, we have another donation already. This is awesome, you guys. Keep it up. I love it. This is great. Flinker Mary, thank you so much. Happy days, another adventure. Oh yeah, I love that. That's awesome. Emily says Mother's Day is hard for me since mine has passed away. Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's so many different like motherly figures in people's lives and so many different things that people go through revolving around their mothers. And it's one of those things, everyone, it's literally one of the prerequisites to come to live in this world. And we come here with a mother. We all have a mother in some way, shape, or form. And even I just, on my drive today, I drove right past the cemetery and realized that there's a lot of families out in the cemetery today. And a lot of people, their mothers have passed on, and it's just a reality of life that's going to happen. And so to me, it basically means like appreciate what you do have, when you do. And of course, it doesn't mean like, oh, life's horrible and you should be all sad and everything if your mother is gone. But that is the reality of life. And some people are able to go and see their mom on Mother's Day, and some people can't. And everyone's relationship is different. And so I think acknowledging that and like being able to relate to other people is very important for sure. It can be sad sometimes. I know for myself, I try to see the positive in it, but inevitably there's times where I feel like it's hard for me that I can't always see my mom. And Amanda put inside of her poll, what was it? Something about like, let us know if you're spending Mother's Day with your mom or if you are the mother or something like that. And I was like, what do I put for that? Like, I'm not a mom. Of course I do have a mom, but things are complicated between our relationship and it's kind of tough. But nonetheless, I appreciate what little relationship I'm able to have with my mom. And, I think all moms have different roles in life, and it's kind of wild. I did want to talk a little bit about what it kind of means to be a mother, or what people see as like the most important part as a mother, because I have my personal issues, I guess you could say, and life's not always perfect. That's never going to be the case, but I am always impressed at how much love mothers have for their kids, and I think it's very fascinating that there's almost like this biological aspect to it. A lot of people can admit, and like it shows and feels kind of like mothers, like, what's the word? Have this, maybe, I guess, yeah, mothers just in general have a type of love or a way of showing that love and affection. And it is special. It's definitely a unique type of relationship for sure. I don't know if I would consider myself a mama's boy necessarily, but I don't know. I felt like when I compare my relationship with my dad to my relationship with my mom, oh man, it is a world of a difference, you guys. So I gotta take what I can get, You can't always have the perfect situation for sure, but yeah. Let's see what you guys are saying here. Courtney says, I think Mother's Day is really about figuring out what a mother really is to us and honoring the people who have shown up for us in that way, mom or not. Yeah, I agree. And from my personal life experiences, I've definitely had to embrace the fact that it's like everyone is going to kind of yearn for motherly figures in their life. And I feel like there's an important aspect to growing up with some loving figure to kind of like teach you about what love is and what that true affection is supposed to be like. And it's not always going to come from your biological mom. There's so much love in the world. There's so many ways for you to find people and like basically, I don't know, have that loving relationship and connection with people, that you shouldn't feel that if your mom is either passed away or isn't fully capable of being there for you, that shouldn't be the end of it. I feel like there's lots of ways for us to be able to build those relationships with people that do care about us. There's plenty of people out there that's going to show love to you, that's going to care about you, even when they might not be blood family, And so I think that's still important. And they deserve just as much credit, you know? Someone that is fulfilling that motherly role for you, then, you know, they're still doing that part. They deserve just as much love as a biological mom that's fulfilling that role and being there for you, you know? I think that's definitely something that's really important. And it really is up to you as an individual how you're going to interpret what motherly love is. Because growing up in an environment where there's lots of manipulation and neglect, I've found that it's far more important what you have come and decided what's important to you or what you look for in a loving relationship rather than what maybe society has deemed as what you should look for in a relationship or what your parents have been trying to cultivate for you to believe what's important in a relationship. So I think that's really good. And that's a part of why I think it's okay for you to go through hard things, for you to lose family members, for you to have to go through those toxic relationships or whatever it is that you might go through that you might look back on and be like, oh, I regret it, or I wish I could go back in time. There's no point in regret. There's none. Like, regretting something is never going to help. That's not going to fix it. That's not going to solve the problem. That does nothing for you. But what can be beneficial since you already went through that experience, since you've already gone through the struggle, the heartbreak, the pain, then you can at least learn from it and take the lessons of life that come from going through those experiences. There's been countless times where I'll be with people. You know, I hang around a lot of people that are around my same age, and I'm 25. I'm at like my quarter life crisis, I guess you could say. But a lot of people my age, I feel like they're living in this constant thought of, man, I'm getting old, or I'm not where I want to be. I'm not as successful as I want to be, and there's a lot of regret and like looking back on like what could have been or what could have happened. And to me, I feel like that doesn't really satisfy anything. Whereas if you can appreciate the time of your life that you go through, there's always something good for that time frame that you're going through. 20-year-olds, there's lots of perks, just as well as going along with a lot of things that you might be struggling with. It's not easy being 25. It's not easy being what would that be? I guess a young adult, I suppose. But it also comes with a lot of perks. There's a lot of beautiful aspects of being 25. And you literally, at least from a physical perspective, you're in the prime of your life. Like, don't let that go to waste. Don't throw that away. Don't spend those prime years of your life being sad or thinking that you're not as far as you want to be, or you're not as successful as you want to be. It's like, take advantage of those. Make the most of it and enjoy it, you know? There's so much that you can do, so much happiness and excitement to take out of life that I would hate for someone to just dwell on the negative and miss out on the good that can come out of their life, you know? Let's see here. We've got Jen saying, we may not be able to pick the family we are born in, but we get to pick the friends we consider to be family. The ones that show up when the blood family doesn't show up for us. Yep. That's so true. I think that's very important. We got Caitlin saying, I'm closer to my grandmother than I am with my mom. I still have a relationship with my mom, but I'm just closer to my grandma, and I think we have more in common. Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. I think there's definitely a reason why there's so many people on this planet, you know? It can be overwhelming. There's like, there's a lot of us out there. It's like if you put in the effort, if you look for people that can fulfill those roles in your life, you're going to find them, you know? And all relationships, though, they go both ways. I think that I've had conversations with people from the cult that I grew up in, and it seemed so much like they had this mentality that relationships were all one-sided. They all depended on how do I say that the best? basically like the love that was shown, the compassion that was there was all dependent on what love was given or what compassion was given to them. That it was almost like they were just trying to be like a mirror, I guess you could say, or it could be a defense mechanism. I'm trying to fully understand why they have this belief that it's like you only show love when love is given or when certain obedience is obeyed, I guess. And depending on how much obedience there is like determines how much love or how much maybe vulnerability you could say that you would allow within those relationships and stuff like that. But to me, I feel like there's so much more to it, and it's important to understand that if you're only in a relationship to get something out of it, then you gotta like look at it from a different perspective. There's so much more to being able to enjoy people's company and to be able to just have friends and great relationships and have a family, really. I think bottom line, that's where a lot of us are trying to get to, I suppose, to where you have people in your life that you're so close with, that you really, truly love, and you can consider them family. And I think that's one of the most important things, you know? So, anyways, sorry, that was a pretty long tangent. We got Sherry finally online during a live. Nice. Yeah, I'm feeling like today's a good day for a lot of people to be able to join these lives, and I'm really excited for that. Yeah, I think, a lot of people see Mother's Day in different ways, and for me, I'll admit, I've gone through time periods of my life where I'm like, Mother's Day is stupid. I don't need to celebrate Mother's Day. Like, my mom wasn't there for me, yada, yada, and everything, And it's like, I understand the pain that people can go through. And I compare it a lot of the times, like, there's a lot of emotion that comes to when a loved one passes away, right? But I feel like it can even some people even go through things that can be seen as even harder than that, The struggle of having a parent pass away and spending Mother's Day at a cemetery, things like that are heartbreaking, and there's so much emotion involved. But then there's even other people. It's like it's hard to fully comprehend the grasp of, yeah, when you have a mother that is there, she's not dead, she's not gone, she's still out there in the world, but you can't have the relationship, you can't like fulfill that void in your heart of having that loving mother in your life, I feel like that can be extremely hard too. And it's funny because a lot of the times with a loved one that passes away, I feel like there's a lot more sympathy, there's a lot more understanding, and people almost get this fulfilled sympathy, I guess you could say. But when someone's mother, when it's not due to a passing, when it's like family complications or sometimes even just family arguments or issues, or politics, whatever it is, then it's like, it's so much harder. You can't just say, well, my mother's passed away, so I don't spend Mother's Day with her, it's almost like you don't really have an answer. It's like, why can't I see my mom? Like, it's weird. It's a very interesting thing to try and like work throughout your mind and fully comprehend and understand, It's weird. But yeah, but that's the reality. Some people, then that's their relationship, There's not always, the world's not all sunshine and rainbows, for sure. Everyone goes through their hardships and goes through things that might not be ideal, that's for sure. But that is life. Okay, let me see here. Sorry. Anyways, how are your guys' relationships with your moms? Did anyone do anything really fun? Anyone get to do like the actual breakfast in bed for their mom? Or if you're a mother, did any of your kids have a fun, tender, sweet moment? I have a funny moment that was, it was so sweet, but like, I don't know. It goes both ways. I'll just share it with you guys, even though, I don't know. I hope it doesn't get anyone in trouble, but let me make make sure I have gone through all of my information here really quick, though. Oh, yeah, I did want to bring up a moral dilemma with you guys. I've been having so many different moral dilemmas on my mind that I just love discussing with people, because it's like everyone kind of has new pieces of a puzzle to put together from the different perspectives. So it's been a lot of fun being able to see like where people's moral beliefs come from, and how they kind of come to their moral decisions, you know? It's fascinating to me. Sweet. Okay, let's go ahead. Ooh, it looks like we got one example shared. Sarah says, my son just brought me a pint of ice cream about 20 minutes ago. Haha. Nice. A whole pint of ice cream. That's nice. Heck yeah. One thing that I thought was really sweet is there was someone sharing their example of when they went to go visit their mom. They were like dropping off flowers and stuff, and they noticed that the young kids that still lived at home with the mom were trying to make this surprise breakfast for her, right? And it was so sweet because they're young little kids just trying to make this food and make it all special for the mom. And one of the kids, as soon as they like the older son came to like drop off the flowers for the mom, then one of the kids is all excited and wants to share the breakfast, this breakfast that they were making for the mom that was still sleeping and everything. And they're bringing it over and they drop it on the floor. And they pick up the pieces of bacon and they're like, here you go. And they still give it to them. I thought that was so sweet. It was cool to see them just trying so hard to like make something special. And I don't know, I think to me, that's what's really tender and sweet, the effort that's put into it. Even when, you know, maybe some of the food got a little bit burnt or fell on the floor or whatever happened. Like, I still think it's very, very nice to have a special day to just put towards, you know, showing that extra love and that care. I think it's really sweet. But, what about you guys? I feel like there's got to be some good examples out there. I feel like there's a lot of people that try really hard to make Mother's Day extra special. Some people do try to avoid it, though. I guess I kind of was debating if like I wanted my whole topic to really be around mothers, because Mother's Day is big. Everyone like it's super popular. Like I went to the store to just get like some chocolates and flowers, and like everybody was buying flowers, man. I'm sure there are more flowers sold on Mother's Day than probably any other day of the year. Like it is packed. People go crazy for their flowers on Mother's Day, which I've always wondered about that, because I personally am not the biggest fan of flowers. I'm always like, they're going to die in a couple of days. Like, are they really that worth it? You know how much flowers can be? They're expensive, you guys. Let me just tell you that. But I'm sure everyone's out there buying them. I'm sure we all know that flowers can be really expensive sometimes. So let's see. Caitlin says, I fed my fur babies breakfast and they didn't make me anything. How ungrateful. Sarah says, LOL, so ungrateful, those freeloaders. Aw. Nice. Okay. That's so sweet. Denise says, I went to the gym with my mom, and when we had brunch together, my son gave me the school-made card on Friday. Aw, that's sweet. That's a lot of fun. Heck yeah. Sweet. Well, enough talking about moms. Well, unless you guys want to. None of you guys really shared what are some of the things that a mother means to you. That was kind of something I was curious about talking about, because I feel like my mind might go back and forth a little bit, but I do think, like, I go back to the biology behind it. Like, mothers definitely have a certain type of love for their kids. And I think that's why even in a restrictive environment where, like I think of where I come from, where the religious group is so strict that they try to almost have the parents disassociate their love and their relationship for their kids, just in case those kids can ever, you know, leave the religion, then they have to be disassociated from the family. You have to not love them anymore. You have to not spend time with them and in essence not really care about them. And even then, even when the whole upbringing of their kids, they tell the mothers that's the way that things are, and that's the way that God wants it to be and whatnot, mothers still seem to have a special place in their heart. And it's interesting. It's almost like, the biology is more powerful than the brainwashing and the manipulation to some extent, because, as we've shared in a lot of the stories, like there still is like brainwashing and manipulation is very effective, especially if you start young, and if you do it with a whole community and you have salvation on the line and you have enough manipulation put into place, then it still can affect people for sure. But yeah, it's interesting. Anyways, we can go on to the moral dilemmas now if you guys want to, but Sarah says, what's your favorite memory with your mother, Eskel? That's a great question. Maybe I could take this time to share some interesting stories with my mom. Let me think about that, because some really joyful memories I have with my mom are definitely, being able to cook with her. I know the holidays were oftentimes a lot more joyful. She taught me how to make apple pie and how to cook different dishes and stuff. And I think those were definitely very tender, loving moments. Now, there was still a lot of the uncertainty aspect of it, because I remember sometimes I couldn't help but feel like when she would give demands, and the whole rule of, oh, in my house my rules, and sometimes it's kind of interesting. I was trying to think of what were some good examples to share on this, because as much as there's a lot of love that's shared within a mother, the mom also has a lot of influence on their kids. And I remember just being so shocked when there would be times when my mom would allow things to happen to us kids, and she wouldn't, either get in the way or stand up for us as her kids. And it was extra hard, I think, because of those tender moments, having those super emotional and I guess bonding moments with her really let me be vulnerable and open with her and feel like a special connection with her. And then it made those harsh moments all the more dramatic and all those more traumatizing, when she wouldn't protect me and wouldn't be there for me. And so I feel like the reality is, it's great to be able to have a loving mother and be vulnerable and open up to your loving mother. I still think, that moms have a very important role, and they carry a large part of raising kids and helping us, our introduction to the world even. They're the first ones that we ever learned from. She was my first teacher ever. My mom was, my everything in the world. And so it was her thought process, her definition of success, her understanding of this world was the very first ones that I ever started to adopt and implement into my life. And so that definitely that does a lot to the ones that are raised by the mother. But it's interesting. Sorry, I feel like I'm going all over the place with that. But some other funny stories with my mom is I'll never forget, because this one was very dramatic and we talk about it a lot. But when I was really young, I would ride my bike, my little tricycle, in the backyard on the one little slab of pavement that we have. And me, I love going fast. I like being risky and kind of dangerous all the time. I feel like I put my life at risk every single day. But this particular time, I was only 4 or 5, maybe 6 years old, just going as fast as I can on this little slab of pavement. And I went so fast, and I wouldn't even use the pedals anymore because I was going too fast to use the actual pedals. And I hit one tiny little curb part of the cement where the cement goes down, and completely tumbled over my bike, smashing my face into the metal handlebars of my little tricycle, and blood was gushing out all over the place, and my teeth were hanging crooked and barely hanging onto my gums. And my mom explained that she freaked out, and she grabbed me, and for some reason, she didn't know what to do. This was when I was young, when she was still unsure of how to raise kids and everything, she just grabbed my teeth and shoved them back into my gums. And throughout the later days, it rotted because it wasn't actually connected. It was just kind of like as a placeholder back inside of my gums, and it turned completely brown. And I still have baby photos of me with a big old brown tooth right at the front of my front tooth, you know. And that was a crazy story. That's one that I'll never forget. But yeah, having 10 kids, though, I feel like it's inevitable for crazy things like that to happen. There's lots of different stories like that for sure. I think that I was a troublemaker. Amanda was talking about how some people consider like the trouble child is like, you know, as hard as raising 2 kids, even though they're just one. And I definitely feel like I was a handful for sure. I liked to cause trouble. Well, I just liked, you know, adventure. I liked doing things all the time, and I feel like that got me into a lot of trouble. But Emily says, I got to have lunch with my aunt, who's basically become my mom after mine passed. Aw, that's so sweet. See, I think that's awesome that people are so willing to step in and fulfill those roles as a loving mother. And it's like, why not, you know? I feel like those loving, you know, mother-daughter or daughter-son or mother-son relationships, they're special. There's something that's great that comes out of it for both sides. I'm sure the moms are able to enjoy having a loving son or daughter, being able to confide in them and go to them for advice and just show that love and compassion to them. That it's like if you have someone in your life that is looking for that motherly figure or someone to be able to have those connections with or to have those great meaningful discussions with, it's like, why not? You know, I feel like it helps both ways. I think it's so great when people are willing to do that. All right, we got Maxine says, my daughter brought me sunflowers and I had a call from my son in the UK. That's so sweet. Sarah says, once my mother passed, I realized that she is home. When she passes, it was like I was adrift. Aww. Jeanette says, I was never close with my mom. I made a point to be close with my daughters. They are 39 and 41. We're still close. See, that's sweet. I see that post a lot, that it's like, if you're still fortunate enough to receive phone calls from your mom and dad, don't ignore them. Like, just appreciate it. I think that's so true. And life goes by so fast, you know? They're not always going to be around. The reality of life is that everyone's going to die. And your parents, statistically, are more likely to die before you because they're older. So might as well appreciate them and make the most of it. Maxine says, oh, and daughter brought chocolates. A great day. Nice. That's so sweet. Jen says, I try to make my kids know they are loved. I am a safe place for them no matter what they do. That's awesome. See, that's unconditional love. That's not where I felt like I reflect on my childhood a lot. And I'm always like, why was there such an urge to like make me feel like I would never be loved? Or at least all of my love was based off of the amount of obedience that I could give, you know? And I felt like there's so much of this, dang, I can't think of the right word right now. But basically what do you think the child will perceive when you only like show that love and affection to them when they obey, or you kind of abandon them or leave them hanging or don't show that love to them when you disagree with anything that they might say or do? Then I feel like that's just going to cultivate this toxic relationship between you and them. And it's going to be very, like, I think it comes kind of from the military style. Like, technically, I think the idea behind it is, you know, like in the military, you do what you got to do and then you accomplish, you know, you pass those levels or whatever, you know. But it's like when it comes to a young developing relationship that they're really learning how life even works, then that's just going to put a false perspective on what love is, and it's going to make their interpretation of love completely warped and change it on them. So I just think that, you know, there's a lot better ways for you to show love and affection and to care for people. Denise says, my mom is an amazing person. She is 74, works full-time, went to the gym this morning, and is kayaking right now. Oh, that sounds like an awesome Mother's Day, going out kayaking. That's really cool. How awesome. Hey, Amanda's here. Welcome, Amanda. Amanda says, Eskel was a troublemaker, lol. If you can believe it, he said all the bad words he knew. Like mess head and bottom face. Yeah, I remember getting in so much trouble just for saying sucker. I would like run all the time and like race my siblings, and if I win them, I'd be like, "You lose, sucker!" And then my mom would be like, "Don't you say that!" And I'd be like, "I at the time I did not even like. I just only knew the word sucker was like a lollipop, and so I was just calling them a lollipop head or something. I didn't think anything of it, but I still got in trouble for some reason." But like I feel like that's what a lot of my childhood was. It was getting in trouble, or maybe getting rewarded for certain things, but not even knowing why. You're so young, you're interpreting the world just as it comes to you. Your first years in life, and constantly going through all these things and not understanding why, not having parents that will pause and take the time to fully explain and be there for you. Then it's like you're not going to be able to fully understand, or at least what the parents might be trying to portray by punishing or trying to get their kids not to say bad words or something. Then that's not going to come across the way that they think it is, but I don't know. Sometimes I feel like they make us grow up way too fast and expect us to just be full grown adults and not make mistakes when we're still little kids, but it's interesting. Todd says, pretty sure Amanda was a handful as a child too. Yeah, Amanda was the first person I ever knew of someone running away. I remember watching my mom chase after Amanda with a stick. Because Amanda, I don't remember even what she did, but she did something to get in trouble. And my mom was like, hey, you're going to get a spanking. And so my mom went to go get a stick. And Amanda ran out of the house. My mom was chasing her with the stick. Amanda is way faster than my mom, though. So she was like a block away by the time my mom got out of the house and was out on the sidewalk. And like shaking the stick at Amanda and being like, you get out of here. And just like yelling at her. And Amanda ran away and she went and hid in some shed. And like, I think she was gone for, I don't know if it was a whole day. But yeah, she's the first person I ever experienced or knew of someone running away. I wonder how old she was during that. Amanda, if you're still here, let us know how old you were. But this happened on multiple occasions, so there was more than one. But Miss Amanda says, you and Amanda are amazing adults. Your parents don't have to approve, but I would adopt you both because you need and deserve parents who love you unconditionally. We adopted my daughter at 18. Aw, that's so sweet. I love that. And it's like, I don't know. I do feel like I have parental figures in my life that I'm able to turn to and, get parental advice and just to confide in and to talk with. And so I have that in my life and I love it. And so I'm always so grateful for people that are willing to do that and, understand that that's such a good thing to do and there's no disbenefit to it. When you can embrace more people and love more people, then there's just more love to be shared. I love that. Sally says, my birth mom passed away 8 years ago this week. Oh, wow. I'm sorry, Sally. That's tough. Todd says, sorry. Oh, yeah, sorry to hear that. Denise says, describes it as transactional love. Yeah, that describes that give and take type of relationship that I felt like I got a lot from my parents. And I've noticed the more I talk about it, this is why I love talking about it, even though some people say it's negative, don't focus on the negative, but I think it's so important to bring up these things because it's so common. And the more I talk about it and express it with people, I've been able to learn and hear other people that have had parents that maybe didn't grow up in a cult, but still didn't understand, what's healthy for raising a child. Because there's no pre-requirements to having a kid. There's oftentimes babies raising babies all the time. And that happens. And it's a learning experiment. So many people just have to learn as they go. And that's a part of life, There's nothing you can really do about that. And so the effects from that is going to be a lot of children going through hard times. It's inevitable. I think, honestly, it's children that probably go through the worst of it throughout life. Children are in this developing age and time where they have no freedom. They literally depend 100% on the parents. And if the parents are going to destroy their creativity or neglect them or abuse them, then they don't have much of a say. It's the harsh reality of it that kids oftentimes get the worst end of the stick, and they have, like, it's not always easy for kids, but that's just kind of a part of growing up. And like I said, with going through hard relationships, with going through traumatic experiences, with being raised or growing up, like, it's not worth it looking back on it and regretting it and hating it, but you're going to be able to take things away to learn from that. There's going to be things that'll build you from that. A harsh life still will cultivate strong people, and I think that that's okay. We don't have to pity or constantly be sad or hate that we didn't get the perfect childhood, when it's like nobody gets the perfect childhood. Take what you've gotten and make the most of it, because regretting it or dwelling on it isn't going to change much, But Amanda says, I sat on the fence and Mom said, if you jump the fence, I'm calling the police. I made eye contact with her as I jumped with a smile on my face. Yeah, that sounds like Amanda for sure. Call the police on you? No, our parents are afraid of the cops. I don't imagine her ever calling the cops on you. That's fascinating that you were able to call her bluff, though. You knew that she was bluffing, but I guess that wouldn't be too hard because our parents hate the cops. They would never call the cops, because if they did, they would get in much more trouble than the kids would get in any trouble. Amanda says, I knew she wouldn't call the police, LOL, and I was 14. Wow, that's definitely young. I'll never forget the time when one of the times that you had run away, Amanda, and I was just sitting by the window and I heard something right outside the window. And I go to look out, and you were crawling up into the window of the house. And I was like, what are you doing? And you were like, go get me some food, okay? I was like, okay. And I ran in the kitchen and made you a bowl of cereal and brought it out to you. Oh, it was so funny. Let's see. Maxine says, my children have no doubt that I love them unconditionally. They will always have a safe place to go. Denise says, I love that, Amanda. A lot of people saying hi to Amanda. Sally says, Todd, thank you. It's hard. I said happy Mother's Day to her ashes this morning before work. There you go. Anthony says, hello, everyone. Hi, Eskel. Welcome. Sweet. Yeah, we got a lot of people in the chat today. How long has it been? Man, I already went through all of my notes. This has been interesting. I guess maybe I've been talking really fast this live. I usually don't run out of stuff to say, but this one's been pretty quick. Let's see how long it's been. We've been live for 40 minutes. Okay, nice. Sweet. Well, do you guys want to hear about the moral dilemma? This one, I've been sharing it with a lot of people because I want it to be in one of my interviews too. Amanda Ray Houdini. Nice. That's a good one. Yeah, I like this. Let's kind of transition over to discussing the moral dilemma because I thought this one was really interesting. I want to get you guys' opinions on it. We can go back to talking about moms if you guys want to as well. Feel free to keep sharing your definition of what a mother is in the comments. But I also want to get you guys' opinion on this because I thought it was interesting. Oh, I thought it was so funny when in Amanda's live you guys were talking about, does the kingdom of God have a petting zoo? I thought it was so funny because to me, when I heard it, I was thinking about how as kids, I'm constantly asking my mom everything under the sun because I don't know anything. I'm brand new into this world, don't have a clue what's going on. So I'm always asking questions. And I feel like Amanda and I, we were the most curious if I think about it. I really felt like we just wanted to know everything that there was about the world. And so we asked so many questions that oftentimes got us in trouble, to the point that Amanda was trying to run away from home at 14. But it's a common thing. Everyone always asks their parents questions. And I remember so many times asking my mom questions. And I look back to it now and I wonder why, like, where she came up with some of the answers, you know? Because she literally is my interpretation of the whole world. Her, how informed she is, or how well she is able to, like, answer those questions or help me to understand the world is literally going to change my entire interpretation of the world, at least while I was young. And a lot of your childhood interactions and experiences stick with you throughout, oftentimes, your entire life. So I think a lot of people misunderstand how important someone's childhood is, you know, the effect that a mother has on you when you're young, because when you're developing and growing, that's when I feel like you almost learn the most, and like your character's developed. Like, I guess I don't know if I'd say the most, but you know, there's so much that's happening in those young developing times of your life. And so I remember asking all sorts of questions like this, like does the kingdom of God have a petting zoo? Are the streets of heaven actually made of gold? And all of these, like, practicality implications and stuff. And looking back on it, I always kind of laugh a little bit at how funny it was, and just how my brain worked with how it would come up with all these different questions. I just feel like it was really fascinating. I like how curious I was about the world, and I hope that I still am. You know, I still want to continue to be curious. Oh, we got another donation. Thank you, Flinker Mary. She says, good memories. Oh, yeah, lots of great memories for sure. I think looking back on life and reminiscing is always fun. Sometimes it comes with a little sadness and trauma, but I think that's okay. It's not, you don't always have to cry about the hard parts of your life that you went through. You can grow from them, and they can be a good thing for sure. Todd says, LOL, that was my comment. Does the kingdom of God have free Wi-Fi? Does the kingdom of God take walk-ins, or is it strictly appointments only? That's a good question. Todd says, does the kingdom of God have an AFLAC policy in case it gets hurt and can't work? An AFLAC policy. I don't even know what that is, but that's a good one. Anthony says, Todd, I guess so, but will we need it? I don't know. Weird one. As I want to be with my family and friends, but friends too. So I guess there would be a way to communicate when we want to. I think, yeah, that's very fascinating. I like contemplating the idea, but to me, you know, you can't really know. And I think there's a reason we don't know, you know. If God wanted us to know exactly what heaven looked like, he would paint a picture in the mountains for us or something, you know. I think what I take away from the fact that we don't know what heaven looks like is the fact that we don't need to know what heaven looks like. That's a problem for a later date, I guess, or an answer to a question for in the next life or something like that, you know. I don't think that if the kingdom of God has a petting zoo or free Wi-Fi is going to alter or change how our life is going to be here in this world. So, but it's funny. I think it's interesting and fun to contemplate for sure. I definitely paint some vision or picture of what I think paradise would look like, because to me, that helps me cultivate what I even want in this life. If you don't know what you would want when you go to heaven, then it's like, how are you going to know what you want out of this life, you know? So I think it's healthy to contemplate what heaven would look like to you. If you, now, I mean, it's kind of ballsy to say, but if you were God, how would you make heaven, you know? What would you do? I think that's a really important question to ask, because if you can envision and cultivate this understanding of what you would want paradise to be like, then I think it would be so much easier for you to realize and see what you should prioritize in this life, you know? What matters to you? What are your goals? What are you working towards? What's the most meaningful things to you? How would you want paradise to be? But Aflac has the duck commercials. Oh, okay. Nice. Anthony says, hey, that's a good idea. If I could actually mail a decent picture, my drawing looks like a kid's. Okay. Um, Todd says, I'm here all week. Aflac is an insurance for accident like life insurance. Oh, cool. LOL. Nice. Good one, Todd. Good one. Nice. Sweet. Okay, I keep talking about this moral dilemma. So let's talk about it really quick, and then we can go back. I like this idea of like painting a little bit of a picture of what paradise would be to you, you know. So let's definitely go back to that because I want to talk about like, you know, the whole idea that a lot of um, particular aspects of religions have a hard time with cultivating the fact that like if heaven wouldn't be heaven without your family, how is the whole justice system supposed to be applied to people that have to do all of these principal things like going to church, being baptized, all these things to go to this heaven or paradise, but if they're a part of your family and they choose something different, but then heaven or paradise wouldn't be paradise without your family, how can you truly get a paradise? Even if you, quote unquote, do all the things that your religion tells you that you're supposed to, then doesn't it seem like there's going to be something missing? Or, I don't know, I guess is paradise supposed to be completely different for each individual person, you know? Anyways, let's go back to that and talk about it as soon as I get you guys' answer on the 5 patients doctor moral dilemma, okay? I took a few notes. Definitely didn't take enough notes on this, but basically, it's talking about if you were a doctor and you had patients. I like this because we're basically playing God again. Just like if you were God, how you would paint your paradise. If you were a doctor, and you had 5 patients that were all going to die because they all have different organs that are, dying inside of them, and you don't have the organs to save them. But then you have one patient come in that has an illness that if you don't immediately address it, they're going to die, and you can use all of their organs to save the other 5 patients. But you could operate on the new person that comes in and save their life, and then the other 5 will die because you won't be able to use their organs. What do you do? What would you do? I feel like this one's very interesting because this really could happen in real life. I'm sure there's the implication of the fact that there's people that have life-threatening things happening to them. And even if you're just talking about the aspect of time, how much time can you allocate towards helping certain patients or saving certain people's lives when, you're at risk of maybe if you help one person, someone else is going to die, or someone has a certain organ that someone else needs. And like, I just, it's kind of fascinating. And in this particular one, it's in essence being like, save one person or save 5. But, there's more to the moral dilemma because it's the immediate response to performing the surgery on this person and helping them, or, just simply waiting, even just procrastinating it, that person will already die. Then the question is that fate? Is that person already going to die? Is that fate enough for you to use that, to let them die, use their organs to save the other people? But then on the same hand, are the other 5 that have those failing organs, is that already their fate to die anyways, And then this isn't even talking, we're not even going to get into the fact that there's a chance you might let this person die, try to use their organs to save the other 5. The procedures don't work out and they all die, But theoretically in this theory, this analogy, then supposedly you're a good enough surgeon to know that you can use this one person's organs to save all 5. Hopefully. I like to think that surgeons are that good. That would be great. Is the kingdom of God using Chat GPT? Or is Chat GPT, is that just God? Where do the answers come from on Chat GPT? Oh man, well, that's a good one. Painting more pictures. Nice, Linker Mary. Anthony says, I have certain things I think heaven would be. However, what is something I like someone else wouldn't? So I guess heaven has to be a place where everything is accepted, or at least stages of heaven. Exactly, right? Most people, like, the whole concept of living with over 1 billion people, like we live with 7 billion people on this planet, and it feels impossible to get everyone to see eye to eye, right? There's just this, everyone's so different, which is okay. I think that's totally fine. But can you imagine how many people do you think have lived in our world, just here on Earth? At least, like, I mean, I once Googled it. It was I'm pretty sure it was in the trillions, like trillions of people. And flip, we all live in some sort of paradise. I guess not all, maybe, but I don't know. It's interesting. But hopefully everybody, right? I think paradise would be great. But it's like, I want to think like, oh, the more the merrier, right? You're in heaven. You're in paradise where I'm sure, there's not a shortage of food. There's not a overpopulation of this paradise, I would imagine. So it's like, the more the merrier. But how can you even comprehend having that many people? Trillion. If you're talking about in the trillion, even 7 billion, there's no way in someone's lifetime you could even talk to all of those people. I think that's just interesting. But then he says, well, the organ allocation process stands in the way of that happening per se. Well, the organ allocation process stands in the way of that happening per se. Are you talking about legal implications? Oops. Sorry about that. Can you guys still hear me? Denise, are you talking about the legal implications? Because I see your point. Like, they might not be able to legally just take someone's organs. They have to be organ donors and all that. But did you guys hear about the case where there was a doctor for years? Well, I mean, sorry, this came from a Netflix documentary. I don't know if it's true, but it was a whole film about this doctor that was taking organs from dead people and don't like using them on her patients to like save their lives, and she never would check to see if they were organ donors or not. She would just, if they were dead, she would use their organs whether they were organ donors or not, which is illegal because they're supposed to be organ donors for you to be able to use their organs. But the documentary was about a doctor that did that without caring, I guess, and so they illegally used the organs of these dead people for their patients. And a lot of people were mad and upset because, yeah, that's illegal. You're taking people's organs without their permission. But then there was a lot of people fighting for her because she had successfully saved, like, it was up in the hundreds of people's lives. And it's like, that's a moral dilemma in and of itself. That's kind of creepy, but it's like, is saving someone's life worth ignoring the consent and the wants of a dead person? It's, yeah, that's kind of interesting. I mean, I don't like the idea necessarily, but like, I'm already an organ donor, so they're going to use mine. I'll be dead. I don't imagine that I'll care, but like, if I was super particular, or like, if I really wanted to be cremated so that, some family members of me can have me in a jar or something, then I feel like I have every right to make that happen. But also, it might be nice of me to let someone be saved by my organs, I suppose. Right? Anyways, let's see what you guys are saying on this. Betsy says, save the person. They are not an organ store. Wait, what? Save the person. They are not an organ store. Okay, so save the one person and let the 5 die then, right? Is that what you're saying? Okay, yeah, I could see a lot of reasons why that would probably be a good moral decision. You want to save that person, because they're the ones that can be saved. They don't have a missing organ that there's no access to it. So you save that one person because they can be saved. The 5 can't be saved unless you let this person die. So it's kind of like, okay, I could see that perspective. Anthony says, being God, then I think if the person believes, then I would let him or her come to me and then save the others. So then they still have the opportunity to restart and potentially come back to God. I don't know. Are you still talking about the doctor analogy we're talking about? Todd says, does the kingdom of God have a brick and mortar location, or are they an online only retailer? That's a great question, Todd. I have no idea. Anthony says, I think maybe I have this attitude as some of my friends' younger brothers have just gone on their missions, so it's like being missionary again. I guess changed my attitude right now, LOL. But changed how? What changed? Like you would let the one person die to save the five? Or did it change your perspective that you would let the one person die? Or are you talking about just using the organs in general? Sorry, I'm just getting a little bit confused here. Denise says, legal and ethics boards, yes. Okay. Anthony says, over here in the UK, now, unless you say you don't want to be an organ donor, they will use it now. It's not illegal over here, or soon isn't gonna be. Okay, so they do the opposite then, it sounds like. Here in the US, they can't use your organs unless you are, on your license, it says you are a donor. Then that means they have the rights to using your organs or whatnot. Sounds like in the UK it's the opposite. They can use all the organs of dead people unless it specifies that they don't want them to be used, right? Okay, I feel like that makes sense. Either way makes sense to me, you know. I think that's fine. Todd says, is the kingdom of God a Gryffindor, Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff, or Slytherin? Well, isn't Gryffindor's everyone's favorite? I'm just kidding. That's funny though. Huh. Yeah, I wonder if that's what your vision of heaven was like in a Harry Potter movie. I wonder if that's how it could be like, you know? That would be cool. Because what if you get it kind of like everyone gets their slightly customized type of heaven, you know? Like if everyone has a mansion in heaven, and sure, maybe we all live in the same, I don't know, dimension, I guess you could say, but we all have our own little world or mansion or whatever you want to call it, and it can be themed exactly how we envision paradise. Oh, that would be cool. I vote for that type of heaven. That would be awesome. Sarah says, Todd, it's all four in tears. Haha. That's a good one. Is that the four kingdoms of heaven? Oh man. It's not just the consent of the deceased, it's also the consent of their survivors. What? How so? What do you mean? Do you need consent to give somebody an organ? I mean, I guess you need consent to perform surgery on them, but if it's a life-threatening organ failure that they have, and you're like, I'm going to use this other person's organ to save you, would someone say no to that? I guess if you're done with this life, I suppose. But no store for organs. Okay, yeah. So Flinker Mary doesn't think that we should have a store for organs specifically. Okay. Anthony says, Mark something. Yes, that's why there is big campaigns recently to get people to talk so people know if the person wants to be a donor. Okay. See, then, yeah, that plays in the whole part of how do you confirm the consent? What if your patient is passed out or in a coma and they have an organ failure? They need a new organ. You're the surgeon and you have an organ. You can perform on them and save their life, but they can't give you consent. You're supposed to just be like, well, what do you do? I don't know. I think it seems like it would be totally okay to save their life. And I guess if they wake up and they're like, hey, I didn't want this, then I guess you could maybe take their life away. I don't know. That seems kind of funny to me, but who knows? I guess. Because I get it, sure, there probably will be people that have life-threatening issues, and sure, they maybe don't want to be saved, and yeah, I guess they don't have to, you know? If you lived a long, fulfilling life, and you feel satisfied and good to go, then I think that's totally fine as well. But I also wouldn't be super mad at a surgeon that saved somebody's life without their consent because they weren't sure, you know? It's like saving someone from drowning, you know? It's not like, do you have to hurry and get their consent before you pull them out of the water or something? Like, I think you probably do the saving of the life and then figure out the whole consent afterwards, is my guess. But Taylor says, every state has a protocol for organ donation. If a patient is not able to voice that they want to be a donor due to brain death, even if it is checked on their license, family has to give consent. What? Really? Even if it's on their license? That's interesting. Dedry Garrick says there's a huge black market here in the States for organs. Black market? That's sketchy. That definitely shouldn't be allowed. I mean, I don't know necessarily if there should be a legal way for there to be like an organ store. I mean, I would imagine that there has to be some type. Sounds weird calling it an organ store, but like, there should be an allowed way to donate your organs, I feel like. But I don't like the black market idea. That's sad. And I think the fact that we don't have a clear understanding of, you know, a type of organ donation, maybe that's why there is a black market for it, and if we could just have our own regulated idea of it, maybe that could help that, I suppose. But I don't know. I'm no expert. That's just what I think. But Popcorn Golden says you have the emergency contact or family member in charge make the say. If they don't have someone, then they have permission if they're not able to verbally say it. Okay. So there's probably someone that has the consent for them if they can't say it. As long as you can find their family member or something, right? I guess if you can't find it, though. They also said, my brother is an EMT. You can, unless they can verbally say no. Okay. Taylor says, if it is determined that they are a candidate to donate in most states. All right, yeah. Sarah says the black market is everywhere. It's sick. Yeah, it's really sad. It's like that whole, in my interview with Cammie, we talked about how there's still an issue with sex trafficking. And it's like, man, we're nitpicking and talking about all of these censorships and making sure, like, people don't post the wrong things or say things that are offensive. And it's like, why are we so zoned in on all these little things about trying to restrict people's freedom and having all these censorships when... Flip, there's a bigger problem, man. It's shocking that there is still sex trafficking issues here in the U.S. today. It's like, that seems like we should be able to address that and not have that be an issue anymore. Anyways, yeah, it is really sad, Sarah. I can't fully comprehend it, man. It's crazy. Popcorn Golden says, but people can also sign a DNR if they don't want to be saved. Oh, so there is such a thing like that. Interesting. Yeah. That's one discussion that's a controversial topic I want to have in one of my interviews eventually. The whole, like, there's this prediction about, like, super far in the future, there's going to be, what's the nice way of saying that? There's going to be an option for assisted exiting this world or leaving this life behind. There's potentially going to be options for that in the future. People are predicting, I guess. And I wonder what are people's moral beliefs on that, What are the social... What's the word for that? What are people's thoughts on that, basically? Sorry. Anyways, that's going to be one of the future controversial topics that I want to talk about for sure. Anthony says, no legal organ store. If someone has passed, then okay, but don't let vulnerable people sell organs as it's not right and it's dangerous. That's true. Yeah, see, that's one thing where I'm like, yeah, it would be nice if there's some legal way to regulate that. But of course, you know how many people would probably go donate a kidney when they probably shouldn't because they're desperate for money or something? It's like, I don't know. It's definitely crazy. There's also living wills. People have to sign a form to give the organs. Maxine says family members need to agree to organ donation if it's not specified. Yep. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. A friend of mine did that. He had stage 4 cancer. Oh, wow. It's important to let your family members know your wishes if anything ever happens so they know what you want if you cannot make decisions at any point in time. Yeah, that's important. Yeah, I've actually had this discussion with some of my siblings about the fact that, like, writing a will, even though I think I'm young and healthy and I feel like I'm not going nowhere, But you never know what life's going to throw at you. You never know how much time you have in this world. But it's like, definitely, it's worth being close to your loved ones. Um, and, I guess, I don't know. I don't want to say, like, money's a big deal, or like you should have to stress or worry about where it's going to go once you leave this life. But it doesn't hurt to be organized and at least have something set in place for, your loved ones or family members to make sure it goes to the proper people, I suppose. But more importantly, I think the bottom line is that you don't have a lot of time. Life is short. It's going to go by quick. So spend it with those people that you love. Build those meaningful connections and make the most of it. And that way, I feel like that's the only way you can look back at life and make sure that you don't regret it. Make sure you aren't just living life for other people, but that you're living it intentionally and you understand what you actually prioritize in this life and what matters to you, and you go for it. Make the most of it. Spend it with those people that you love for sure. But sweet. I love it. I think that's a great one to end on. I really appreciate you guys all being here. Thanks for having this discussion with me and participating. I really like hearing all of you guys' thoughts. And sorry if I made anybody uncomfortable. I know sometimes I bring a lot of dark humor into this, but I don't know. I feel like in life there's going to be ups and downs, and ignoring them, I personally don't feel like I benefit much from ignoring the hard aspects of life, but I just acknowledge them and understand that that's reality. But there's still so much good, that there's too much good in life to let just the bad ruin everything else. But it's beneficial to acknowledge and understand the bad and the harsh things that happen in life, just to be better educated, to be able to relate to people, to understand people's perspectives more, but also stay positive, count on or acknowledge and notice the good in life, and what you look for, you will find. So if you want to find all the bad and horrible things, you'll find it. But if you want to find the joyful, exciting things in life, you'll find it as well. So I love that about life. I think that's truly meant to be. That's something that makes life interesting and makes it well worth living, So I think that's awesome. Sweet. Okay. Well, let's read these last few comments and then we'll call it good. Anthony says, I wrote my will at 22. Oh, wow. Obviously changed it a few times since having family, but at least something set in place. I freaking even wrote extra things when I had COVID bad, as I was in the hospital twice. Oh, yeah. See, I bet that could be a scare. And that's the thing. I feel like a life's appreciation always comes to us when we just acknowledge and accept the fact that it's so delicate. We can go at any moment. And I feel like, trips to the hospital, getting in car crashes, things like that really help us to understand that, man, life is precious. Don't waste it on arguing with people that are never going to change. Don't waste it just, letting people just take your time away and make you feel bad and just, ruin the joyful, happy aspects of your life. Make the most of it, Don't waste it, for sure. Caitlin says, see you next week. Sweet. Heck yeah. Thank you, Caitlin. See you next week. Anthony says, wills cost $500 over here in the UK. Oh, wow. At solicitor, however, I would rather pay $500 and make sure family are okay and supported. Nice. That's awesome. That's a whole nother thing. I want to do a talk with Cammie about life insurance. There's a lot of interesting things about life insurance that can actually be quite beneficial. Ruby says, hi, who are you? I'm sorry. Nice. Where we are at the end. So, my name's Eskel Grant. This is an evening, what the heck? Evening with Eskel, episode 65. So, if you're new here, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. We just have discussions every single week. If you like the discussion that you heard today, definitely subscribe, turn on that notification, and I'll see you guys in the next one. So, happy Mother's Day, everyone. Happy Sunday. I hope you all have a great week. And that's it. Thanks. Bye, guys. Have a good one.